Standing in the crystal chandeliered lobby of the luxurious Royal Crown Hotel in her simple jeans and shirt, she saw the mocking expression on the receptionist's face when she asked about the royal suite. Watching how those smirks transformed into shocked expressions when Jennifer Parker was revealed as the new CEO of the international chain that now owned the hotel was truly worth seeing. The Royal Crown Hotel in New York was one of the city's most prestigious and luxurious hotels. Located in the heart of Manhattan, the magnificent 60-story building promised unlimited luxury and privilege for its select guests. Built in 1926 and renovated in 2018 with a $400 million investment, the hotel offered a perfect combination of classic architecture and modern luxury. This unique location, within walking distance of Central Park and Times Square, was one of the city's most valuable pieces of real estate. At the hotel's impressive entrance, 3 livery-clad doormen were always ready, greeting guests and escorting them inside. On either side of the entrance stairs stood dazzling gold-leafed lion statues, emphasizing Royal Crown's symbol of wealth and status. The exterior of the hotel was illuminated at night by a specially designed lighting system, shining like a palace among Manhattan's skyscrapers. The hotel lobby was an architectural masterpiece. From its 50-foot ceiling hung a massive crystal chandelier, an engineering marvel created specially in Venice, composed of 24,000 crystal pieces. The chandelier cast shimmering patterns on the marble floor. The walls were covered with hand-carved wooden panels, and in the corners stood artworks by world-famous sculptors. In the center, a magnificent marble fountain spread the soothing sound of water throughout the area. The lobby was always filled with a light scent of sandalwood and jasmine, the Royal Crown Hotel's specially prepared signature fragrance. The reception desk was made of a single piece of carved Italian marble, with fresh-cut flowers always placed in front. The staff working behind the desk were professionals who could speak several languages fluently, graduates of prestigious hospitality schools. All employees wore specially tailored uniforms in Royal Crown's vibrant red color, with gold badges bearing the hotel's famous crown on their lapels. The hotel's client profile consisted of world-renowned wealthy individuals, celebrities, royalty, and elite business people. Royal Crown was known for its suites starting at $10,000 per night, and the Royal Suite costing up to $50,000. On the lower floor was the Michelin-starred Crown Jewel restaurant, and on the upper floor was an exclusive lounge called Sovereign Club, accessible only to members. The regulars of the Royal Suite included Hollywood stars, Arab sheiks, and billionaires on the Forbes list. It was rare for an ordinary person to even step into the hotel lobby, and almost impossible to stay in the Royal Suite. The general manager of Royal Crown Hotel, Richard Bennett, was in his mid-50s, always impeccably dressed, and performed his job flawlessly. With his steel gray hair and piercing blue eyes, he was almost a living reflection of the hotel, perfect, cold, and impressive. A graduate of Oxford University, Bennett had served many VIP clients throughout his 30-year luxury hospitality career, from world leaders to sports stars. He had managed some of the world's most luxurious hotels, including the Ritz in Paris, Burj Al Arab in Dubai, and Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Bennett's greatest pride was Royal Crown's perfect guest satisfaction philosophy. Of course, this perfect service was offered only to a certain client profile. That Tuesday morning, Richard Bennett was at the hotel as usual at 7:30. With his perfectly tailored Savile Row suit, gleaming Italian shoes, and bright Hermes tie, he was a living reflection of the hotel's luxurious atmosphere. He had gathered the reception team for a morning meeting, reviewing the day's VIP guests and special requests. "Mr. Henderson will arrive at 10. Make sure his usual suite is ready. Make sure we have the special French champagnes he requested during his last visit," said Bennett, touching his Montblanc pen elegantly to his notebook. "At noon, a Japanese business delegation will arrive. We have a special tea ceremony prepared for them. And remember, the new CEO of Aston Group has indicated he will be coming this afternoon. He is a very important potential client, so everything must be perfect." The reception team nodded. Jason Miller, 28, was the head of reception. Handsome, well-groomed, and extremely professional, Jason was particularly popular with female guests. A graduate of Cornell University's hospitality department, Jason spoke 5 languages and could easily fulfill even the most complex requests from customers. Working alongside him were 25-year-old Emma Taylor and 30-year-old Marcus Wright, all graduates of famous hospitality schools, fluent in several languages, and select professionals. "Mr. Bennett," said Jason, looking at the reservation system on his computer, "the Royal Suite is empty today, isn't it? Shall we complete our preparations for the Saudi prince arriving tomorrow evening?" Bennett nodded. "Yes, I want the suite to be completely cleaned and renewed. The flowers should be fresh. New Egyptian cotton sheets should be laid. The room should be scented with the perfume we've prepared specially for the prince. Every detail must be worthy of the prince. This visit is very important for the hotel's reputation. Understood, sir, said Jason, taking quick notes. Chef Edwards has already prepared a special menu for the prince, and the health club has reserved special hours for the prince and his entourage. Bennett nodded with satisfaction. Perfect. This job must be done right. If the prince's visit is covered in the press, the hotel's prestige will increase even more. Just then a woman entered through the hotel's revolving doors. Appearing to be in her early 40s, she wore blue jeans, a simple white shirt, and comfortable sneakers. She carried a black bag that looked worn on her shoulder. Her long brown hair was gathered in a casual ponytail, and she wore minimal makeup, perhaps just a light lipstick. Her sharp, intelligent brown eyes carefully examined the lobby. The lobby staff was slightly surprised by this unfamiliar sight. This simply dressed woman certainly did not fit the typical guest profile of Royal Crown. One of the doormen took a step toward the woman, perhaps to tell her she had come to the wrong place, but she had already begun moving toward the reception. Bennett turned to his staff. Okay, everyone to their positions. And remember, today Jennifer Parker, the new CEO of Luxury Retreats, may also visit our hotel. She just purchased Aston Hotels and Resorts for $2.7 billion last week and might be considering a serious offer for our company. She hasn't made an appointment yet, but be prepared just in case. Emma asked curiously, Jennifer Parker? Isn't she that new billionaire from the finance world? The one featured on the cover of Forbes? Bennett nodded. Yes, she's a former finance genius. Educated at Princeton and Harvard, made her billions on Wall Street, and now she's entered the hospitality industry. Her acquisition of Aston was one of the biggest deals in the sector. How will we recognize her? Marcus asked. I've never seen her photo. Don't worry, said Bennett. She'll probably come with a team of 8 people. Limousine, bodyguards, assistants. Typical CEO profile. You'll definitely notice her. As the staff dispersed, Bennett headed toward his office. He knew Jennifer Parker's visit would be unexpected, but it was natural for a CEO who had just completed the largest acquisition in the luxury hotel industry to want to inspect a prestigious hotel like the Royal Crown. Bennett wasn't sure when and how Parker would arrive, but he had received instructions from the company's communications department to be prepared for a possible visit. Meanwhile, the simply dressed woman had reached the reception desk and was standing in front of Jason Miller. Good morning, said the woman with a slight smile. Can you help me? Jason put on his professional smile, but a small light in his eyes had dimmed. This woman was definitely not a Royal Crown customer. Perhaps a tourist? Or maybe someone coming for a business meeting. In any case, she was certainly not a VIP. Good morning, how can I help you? He replied, with a barely perceptible distance in his tone. I'd like to get information about the royal suite, said the woman. Emma, beside Jason, tried to suppress a smile with a slight cough. Marcus suddenly focused on his computer screen, but couldn't hide the thin smile on his lips. All three were thinking the same thing. How could this simply dressed woman afford a suite that cost as much as an American worker's annual salary? Jason tried to stay calm. During his 5-year career at Royal Crown, he had encountered such situations. Sometimes tourists, sometimes just curious people came to inquire about luxury they couldn't afford. He usually politely directed them and suggested more affordable alternatives at the hotel. After all, his job was to show courtesy not only to VIP customers but also to potential customers. However, he also had to maintain the hotel's prestige and use resources efficiently. And this woman was definitely not a royal suite customer. Of course, said Jason, maintaining his professional tone. Our royal suite is 4,800 square feet and includes 3 bedrooms, a private cinema room, jacuzzi, sauna, and a terrace with a 360-degree view of Manhattan. Private chef and personal butler service is available 24 hours. The nightly rate is $50,000 and requires a minimum 2-night reservation. The woman nodded, not looking surprised at all. Is it available today? Jason raised his eyebrows slightly. This woman was either a very wealthy person and her appearance was completely misleading, or she was just curious. In either case, it seemed pointless to give her false hope. Unfortunately, reservations for the royal suite are usually made months in advance, and also, he lowered his voice, as if sharing special information with her, it's usually allocated to our long-term loyal customers or VIP guests. The woman seemed to understand. What about tomorrow? Emma could no longer hide her smile. Marcus raised his head from the computer, looking at the woman with open curiosity. Other staff members behind the reception had also noticed the situation and had begun whispering slightly. Tomorrow is also unfortunately booked, said Jason, becoming slightly impatient. This was true. The Saudi prince was coming tomorrow. Perhaps you might be interested in a more superior room start at $1,000 and still allow you to experience the royal crown experience. The woman shook her head. No, thank you. I specifically wanted to see the royal suite. Jason, with the experience gained in his professional career, had become a master at politely rejecting such requests. Unfortunately, we only show our suite to guests who are staying with us, he said, his tone now more definite and conclusive. I see, said the woman. Well, could I speak with Mr. Bennett? Jason, Emma, and Marcus exchanged quick glances. Richard Bennett, the general manager of Royal Crown, usually only met with VIP guests. It was strange, even a bit amusing, for this simply dressed, ordinary-looking woman to request a meeting with the hotel's top executive. Mr. Bennett is very busy right now, said Jason, his tone now openly impatient. Is there anything else I can help you with? The woman thought for a moment. Well, my name is Jennifer Parker. Could you let him know I'm here? Jason's face froze. Emma's smile suddenly disappeared. Marcus raised his head from the computer, his eyes wide with surprise. All three simultaneously remembered the name Bennett had mentioned in the morning meeting. Jennifer Parker? Jason stammered. Jennifer Parker, the new CEO of Luxury Retreats? The woman simply nodded. Yes, that's me. There was a silence in the lobby. The staff who had been whispering and laughing earlier were now frozen, watching the scene in shock. Jason's face reddened, then turned pale. He was experiencing the biggest crisis of his professional career. He had just condescended to the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company and potentially the future owner of the hotel. I'm sorry, Ms. Parker. We weren't expecting you. I mean, not this early. Jennifer smiled. Surprise inspections are always the best, aren't they, Mr. Miller? She said, looking at the name tag on Jason's lapel. Emma and Marcus were surprised that Jennifer Parker knew Jason's name, despite not knowing their names. The new CEO of Luxury Retreats had clearly done her homework. Please inform Mr. Bennett of my presence, Jennifer continued in a calm voice. And perhaps I could see the royal suite you told me was booked? Jason secretly wiped his sweating hands on his pants. His heart was beating so fast it felt like it might burst from his chest. His career was in jeopardy. Perhaps his entire future would change after this moment. Of course, Miss Parker, he said, his voice trembling. I'll call Mr. Bennett right away. Jason was about to press the button to call Bennett when Richard Bennett emerged from one of the elevators with quick steps. He had noticed the commotion at reception and had come down to the lobby. What's the problem? Bennett asked as he approached the reception. Then he saw Jennifer, the woman who, in her simple jeans and shirt, was almost invisible in the hotel's luxurious lobby. Mr. Bennett, said Jason, his voice still trembling, this is Ms. Jennifer Parker, the CEO of Luxury Retreats. The change in Bennett's face was worth seeing. First surprise, then recognition, followed by a professional smile. Ms. Parker, what a surprise. It's a great honor to welcome you to Royal Crown. Jennifer extended her hand. Mr. Bennett, I'm glad we finally met. I've heard a lot about Royal Crown. Bennett quickly shook her hand. I hope it's all good. A complete lie. Bennett was praying that what a potential buyer interested in buying the hotel had heard was good. So far, it's been interesting, said Jennifer with a slight smile. Your staff told me the royal suite was booked, but from your conversation this morning, I understand it's empty? Bennett's smile flickered slightly. He shot Jason a quick, angry look. There must be a misunderstanding. The royal suite is reserved for tomorrow, but it's definitely available today. I'd be delighted to show it to you right away. Actually, said Jennifer, I'd like to have some tea in the lobby first, and perhaps Mr. Miller could join us. She looked at Jason, an unreadable expression in her eyes. Bennett and Jason exchanged worried looks. Of course, said Bennett. Let's go to the private salon. The three moved to the private VIP salon next to the lobby. The salon reflected Royal Crown's luxury with its antique furniture, artwork, and sparkling city view. The other customers at the lobby bar, mostly wealthy business people and celebrities, watched the trio with curious looks. Who was this simply dressed woman, and why was the hotel's general manager giving her such special treatment? After they sat down, the staff immediately began preparations for tea service. Bennett, forgetting his rule of never apologizing to customers, was almost constantly apologizing. Ms. Parker, I'm really sorry for this misunderstanding. Our staff is usually extremely professional. Jennifer politely raised her hand. Mr. Bennett, don't rush to apologize. First, I want to fully understand the situation. She turned to Jason. Mr. Miller, how long have you been working at Royal Crown? Jason nervously cleared his throat. For 5 years, Ms. Parker? And during this time, how would you describe the hotel's guest reception policy? Bennett intervened. Ms. Parker, Jason is one of our most valuable employees. He's always professional and… Jennifer politely raised her hand. Mr. Bennett, I asked the question to Mr. Miller. Bennett, for the first time in his 30-year career in the service industry, had been silenced by a customer. He felt surprise and slight anger, but tried not to show it. After all, the woman before him was potentially the key to a $3 billion deal. Jason loosened his tie slightly. For the first time, his perfect appearance was disrupted. Our policy is to provide excellent service to all our guests. To all your guests? Jennifer asked. Or just to those who look right? The salon fell silent. Jason swallowed, not knowing what to say. Jennifer took a small notebook from her bag. Not a luxury leather-bound Smithson notebook, but an ordinary spiral notebook. In the last 6 months, I've gone to 16 different hotels as a mystery shopper. Each time I wore jeans and a simple shirt, minimal makeup, and almost every time I was treated as you did today. Bennett and Jason were now completely silent. Tea service arrived, but no one even noticed. At the Ritz-Carlton, they wouldn't let me sit in the lobby. At the Four Seasons, a waiter suggested I use the back door. At the Waldorf Astoria, a security guard wouldn't leave me alone. Jennifer calmly flipped through her notebook. And now at Royal Crown, I was told the royal suite was booked, when I know it's empty. Bennett was sweating, while Jason continued to grow pale. Jennifer continued, the reason I came to Royal Crown was to evaluate whether this hotel would be suitable for the luxury retreats portfolio. And most importantly, to see if it aligns with our company's mission and values. What are your company's values, Ms. Parker? Bennett asked, his voice less confident than before. Our most fundamental value, Mr. Bennett, is treating every guest equally and respectfully. Luxury is not just for the wealthy, but for anyone who wants to feel special. In our hotels, a guest's worth is determined not by the size of their wallet, but by their intrinsic value as a human being. Bennett and Jason looked at each other. This was a radical perspective in the world of luxury hospitality. Luxury hotels had historically always been built on elitism and exclusivity. Hotels like Royal Crown derived their status precisely from being special places not accessible to everyone. And based on what I've seen today, said Jennifer, closing her notebook, I've concluded that Royal Crown doesn't fit this vision. Bennett's face paled. A multi-billion-dollar deal was dissolving before his eyes. Ms. Parker, please. Today's incident was an exception. I assure you that at Royal Crown, we treat every guest with respect. Really? Jennifer asked. Do you also treat your cleaning staff with respect? What about your doormen? Not just your customers, but your employees too. Bennett struggled to answer. The truth was that Royal Crown's prestige largely depended on its ability to accept the right people and keep out the wrong ones. And yes, lower-level employees were usually required to use back doors because guests didn't want to see them. Let me tell you something, said Jennifer, finishing her tea. I'm going to give you a chance, Mr. Bennett. A chance for my company to see if you're willing to completely change your culture. Bennett quickly nodded. Of course, Ms. Parker. Whatever you need. Good, said Jennifer. Here's the first change. Tomorrow in the Royal Suite, I'll be holding a meeting with the directors of the city's largest charity serving the homeless. Royal Crown will give them the full VIP treatment. Jason's jaw dropped. Bennett's eyes widened, but he didn't dare object. Of course, Miss Parker. And secondly, Jennifer continued, you're going to show me the Royal Suite now. Afterwards, you'll find your lowest paid employee, probably a cleaning person or dishwasher, and host them for a night in the Royal Suite. A cleaning person, said Bennett, struggling to pronounce the words. Yes, said Jennifer, standing up. True luxury service, Mr. Bennett, is provided by looking at someone's character, not their wallet. And right now, Royal Crown's most valuable asset is not money, but people. Both your employees and your guests. Bennett, albeit reluctantly, nodded. I understand, Ms. Parker. We'll see, said Jennifer, moving toward the door. Now, would you show me the royal suite? And Mr. Miller, she said, turning to Jason, perhaps you'd like to join us? This could be an educational experience for you. Jason stood up, his face red with embarrassment. Of course, Miss Parker. As the three walked toward the elevator, Jennifer Parker's simple jeans and plain white shirt now looked very different to everyone in the lobby. Perhaps luxury doesn't lie in clothes, jewelry, or labels, but in how a person sees themselves and others. As Jennifer Parker toured the royal suite, she didn't behave like any luxury hotel customer. Instead of focusing on the suite's expensive French furniture, Chinese silk sheets, or marble bathrooms with gold-plated faucets, she examined the cleaning quality, ease of use, and how the staff worked. Who cleans this place? She asked Bennett, watching the Manhattan view from the large window of the master bedroom. We have a special cleaning team for the royal suite, Bennett replied. Maria and her team. Maria has been working with us for 15 years. She's a legend in suite cleaning. I want to see Maria, said Jennifer. Bennett hesitated. She's probably on the lower floors right now, cleaning other rooms. Find her, said Jennifer, her tone gentle but determined. Bennett gave Jason a look, and Jason immediately reached for his phone and quickly sent a few messages. A few minutes later, there was a knock at the door, and a middle-aged Latina woman entered. She was wearing a classic room service uniform, a dark dress, a white apron, and a simple net over her hair. She had cleaning cloths in her hands. You called for me, Mr. Bennett? Said Maria with a slight Spanish accent. Bennett introduced the woman to Jennifer. Maria, this is Ms. Parker. She is an important guest of ours. Jennifer smiled at Maria and extended her hand. Maria, I'm pleased to meet you. Mr. Bennett told me you're responsible for cleaning the royal suite. Maria shook Jennifer's hand with surprise. Very few guests touch the hands of cleaning staff. Yes, ma'am. My team and I clean this place every day. You're doing a great job, said Jennifer, looking around the room. Everything is spotless. Maria smiled with obvious pride. Thank you, ma'am. Have you ever stayed here, Maria? Jennifer asked. Maria's eyes widened. Me? No, ma'am. We just clean. Jennifer nodded. I see. How long have you been working at Royal Crown? It's been 15 years, ma'am, said Maria. When I started, my daughter Sarah was just a baby. Now she's preparing for university. You must be proud of Sarah, said Jennifer. Yes, ma'am. Maria's face lit up. She's very smart. If she can go to a good university, maybe one day she could be a doctor or lawyer. Bennett was watching the conversation impatiently. Maria, thank you. You can return now. Actually, said Jennifer, Maria can stay. I have one more question for her. She turned to Maria. Could you tell me, Maria, how are Royal Crown's employees treated? Please be honest. Maria hesitated, giving Bennett a worried look. Don't worry, said Jennifer. There won't be any problem. I just want an honest answer. Maria took a deep breath. I love my job, ma'am, but sometimes it's very hard. Some guests don't treat us like humans, and the working hours are very long, the wages very low. I have to work 2 jobs to pay for Sarah's university expenses. Bennett shifted uncomfortably. Jason was looking at his feet. Thank you, Maria, said Jennifer. I appreciate your honesty. Maria asked for permission to leave, and Bennett reluctantly nodded his approval. After Maria left, Jennifer sat on the large sofa in the middle of the room. Mr. Bennett, let's discuss the terms of the deal now. Bennett and Jason sat across from her, both looking tense. I want to buy Royal Crown, said Jennifer, but only under certain conditions. Bennett nodded. Of course, Miss Parker. We can negotiate everything. This isn't a negotiation, said Jennifer, her tone soft but definite. These are my terms. First, all existing staff will remain in place, but wages will increase by at least 30%. Second, working conditions will be improved. Shorter shifts, better health insurance, assistance for education. Third, the hotel will serve nonprofit organizations for at least 1 week each month. Bennett's mouth had fallen open. These conditions could seriously affect the hotel's profit margin. Ms. Parker, these terms are somewhat challenging. Perhaps we could discuss the details with the company lawyers. I already have, said Jennifer. And my final condition is this. You and Mr. Miller will manage this change in hotel culture. If you succeed, you can continue your careers at luxury retreats. If you fail, well, then we'll part ways. Bennett and Jason looked at each other. This was an ultimatum. And how long do I have to make this decision? Bennett asked. Jennifer smiled. I've already made the decision, Mr. Bennett. My lawyer will bring the agreement documents tomorrow. The question is, do you believe in this vision? If you really want change, I'd be delighted to work with you. If you don't, I can find someone else. Bennett took a deep breath. Throughout his 30-year career, he had believed that luxury was only for a certain segment. But now before him was someone with a completely different vision. Perhaps it was time for change. I believe, he finally said, and we will make the change happen. Jennifer nodded. Good. As a first step, I want you to offer Maria the chance to stay in the royal suite tonight. Give her the full VIP treatment. Dinner, spa, everything included. And consider offering a scholarship to her daughter Sarah for university education. Someone who has served Royal Crown for 15 years deserves this, don't they? Bennett nodded again. Yes, Miss Parker. I'll arrange it immediately. Excellent, said Jennifer, standing up. Now, Mr. Miller, perhaps you could show me that beautiful fountain in the lobby? Mr. Bennett, you can find Maria. As Jason and Jennifer returned to the lobby, Jason gathered his courage and spoke. Miss Parker, I really am very sorry. My behavior toward you was inexcusable. Jennifer stopped and looked at Jason. Mr. Miller, everyone in this world makes mistakes. What matters is whether we learn from these mistakes. Did you learn a lesson today? Jason nodded. Yes, I did. I learned not to judge people by their outward appearance. Good, said Jennifer, because at luxury retreats, every person is valuable. Guests, employees, everyone. And maybe one day, Royal Crown can be such a place too. 3 months later, Royal Crown Hotel had completely changed. Richard Bennett and Jason Miller were still in their positions, but the hotel was now run with a different philosophy. Jennifer Parker's luxury for everyone vision had unexpectedly increased the hotel's occupancy rate by 30%. Among the new policies were donating the royal suite to charities for 1 week each month, treating all staff equally, and evaluating guests based on their behavior rather than their clothes. Employees now received better wages, had better working conditions, and many benefited from the education scholarship program. Maria's daughter Sarah had begun medical education at a prestigious university, fully financed by the hotel. Maria was now working as a guest experience consultant, a new position created to better understand and meet guest needs. Royal Crown now welcomed not just the wealthy, but anyone seeking a special experience. Of course, prices were still high, but the hotel now organized a community service week once a month, during which some rooms were offered free of charge to those in need. Children undergoing cancer treatment and their families, retired teachers, volunteers helping the homeless, all had the chance to experience Royal Crown's luxury. Jason Miller, now the hotel's guest experience director, was responsible for implementing the new philosophy. In every morning staff meeting, he conveyed the lesson Jennifer Parker had reminded them of that day. Luxury cannot be worn like a garment or displayed like a label. Luxury is treating every person according to their inner value. After a while, the hotel's new approach began to attract attention in the press. Travel Plus Leisure published an article titled The New Face of Luxury, while Condé Nast Traveler selected Royal Crown as the most inspiring hotel transformation of the year. While some of the old loyal customers moved away from the hotel, their places were taken by a new customer profile, more diverse, more inclusive, and paradoxically, a wealthier clientele. Richard Bennett, as the architect of this transformation, was experiencing the most satisfying period of his career. He now cared not just about profit margins, but how he touched people's lives. The success of this new model, applied in luxury retreats hotels worldwide, had made him a visionary in the eyes of many colleagues in the industry. And perhaps most importantly, there were now people wearing jeans and simple shirts in Royal Crown's lobby, and they were treated with as much respect as business people in suits. because the hotel had understood that people's value lies not in their clothes, but in their character. One evening, as Jason was attending to a customer, he saw a woman in jeans and a simple shirt. The woman wasn't Jennifer Parker, but Jason greeted her like one of the hotel's most valuable guests. "Good evening, ma'am. Welcome to Royal Crown. How can I help you?" The woman smiled. "Thank you. I'm in the city this week and would like to book a room." "Of course," said Jason, now completely sincere. "Which room type would you prefer?" "Your simplest room will do," said the woman. Jason smiled. "If I may, could I recommend one of our deluxe rooms? The view is magnificent, and we have a special promotion this week." The woman looked surprised. "That's very kind. Thank you." As Jason made the reservation, the woman looked around. "This place is really beautiful. I wanted to come before, but I didn't think I would feel comfortable." "I understand," said Jason. "But now at Royal Crown, everyone is welcome. That's our new motto. True luxury is for everyone." The woman smiled. "That's a very nice motto." "Yes," said Jason sincerely, "and we owe it to a friend of ours. She taught us that people's true value lies not in how they look, but in who they are." As the woman walked toward the hotel, Jason watched her go. Once, he would probably have ignored this woman. Now he saw her as a valuable guest of Royal Crown. Because the most valuable lesson Jennifer Parker had taught him that day was this: true value lies not in appearance, but in behavior and character. And this lesson had completely changed not only Jason's career, but his outlook on life. Now he treated every person, regardless of their clothes or status, according to their unique inner value. This had become not just a business philosophy, but a life philosophy. The gold-leafed plaque at the entrance of Royal Crown Hotel now read, "True luxury belongs to everyone." And this was a revolution that began the day Jennifer Parker stepped into that hotel in her jeans and simple shirt. What did you take away from this story? Have you ever judged someone by their clothes or appearance, then realized you were wrong? Perhaps you've experienced something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from today? Let us know in the comments. And remember, true value is not in appearance, but in character. Until our next story, take care of yourself and approach everyone with respect.